Awareness is on your front heart. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then pause and be still. And then just be still. Now, single oils here, benzoid, blue tansy, any sort of chamomile, any sort of, well, I guess the dark blue and the regular blue are listed of tansy, lavender, yarrow, and also lang lang. So pull out something from that bunch of oils. It's C on D R E M sleep. Oh, you can also use blue healer. Like I don't think I listed that here. It's blue healer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so your kit is the blue healer.
Yeah, blue healer. My apologies. So you're inhaling, your awareness is on the back head. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The forehead, your awareness is on the forehead. Back heart, and the front heart. Just be still. Let's go back to the Artemisia. You have your Artemisia. You're inhaling. Your awareness is on the back head. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Forehead. Your awareness is on the forehead. And the back heart. And the front heart. Just be still. Now you have your benzoin or one of the tansies or chamomiles, lavender, yarrow, ylang ylang. Your awareness is on the back head. Your awareness is on your forehead. your back heart. Your awareness is on the front heart. Yeah. And you feel more weight.
Oh, yeah. But not till that last bit.
Yeah. So okay, go ahead and relax. But the REM is, you're still asleep, but it's like more wakeful because you're doing cognitive processing, and so you've fleshed out 3 different kinds of stress, and then you worked on cognitive processing. The culmination will help flush out different kinds of traumas and even a little bit of fears and things like that, as well as rebooting the body, restorative processes in the body. So there's a physiological and a psychological component to it. And then this would also contribute to deeper states for dreaming and things like this. And so I think New Jersey had some questions. I saw that. We'll give them an opportunity first, but if not, let's go ahead and unmute or type in,
Yeah, you can unmute if you want to.
and go ahead, other people, if you want.
And you can unmute yourself, you can raise your hand. Go ahead, Teresa, then Molly.
Hey, Teresa.
Hey, Greg. Amazing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's actually helping unwind whatever was stuck in the hip.
Oh yeah, I mean this could be used for like pain maintenance, or again, like I go back to, I have those torn muscles in my back, and when it gets really starting to get wonky, if I can get really good sleep, I'll snap right out of it.
Yeah.
And so any sort of chronic health issue, and the thing is, like, you don't have to do all of these processes. Each one of them will stand on its own. So if you
Okay.
have like a lot of problem falling asleep, do stage 1. If you're having a hard time staying asleep, stage 2. If you're needing more restorative processes, especially to the immune system, nervous system, endocrine system, or the like muscle, like you're talking about, like joint, like basically pain syndromes, more stage 3. And then like if you're wanting to do deeper, like cognitive processing, letting go of something, releasing something, like Samantha was saying, the first 3, man, she could barely keep her head up. The 4th, she was like, I feel better and I feel like awake, right? And so these don't have to be done right before you go to bed. You're training processes in your body to function better. So even if you did it midday or at the dinner time, when you lay down to go to sleep, the potential is that you sleep deeper, right?
That makes sense. And I have a couple of questions then on this, because I went back and looked at the hip and body mapping and it's psychological trauma. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Mhm.
So there's just some stuck stuff in there. And lemongrass is what seemed to have shifted, because I didn't
Good.
have her.
Yeah.
So can you tell me the benefits of like lemongrass and yarrow? Because those seem to be good combo for me.
Well, lemongrass helps to calm down fight, flight, and stimulates rest and repair. So it tones up the vagus nerve and helps stimulate lymphatic movement. You know, it's considered a cure-all, so it will even flush out kinds of stress and things like this.
Okay.
Yarrow, anti-inflammatory, anything that is healing helps push you into some form of deeper vagal tone or parasympathetic activity, which is rest and repair. But
Mm.
yarrow is very good, you know, besides its like anti-inflammatory properties and all that, antispasmodic as well. But it also helps to heal like deep-seated wounds, like
Ah.
deep-seated traumas. Yeah.
Okay. And can I take that internally?
Yes. Just like if you were to take it daily, don't do it longer than 3 weeks without taking a break for about a week. And the reason being that if you take yarrow for longer than 3 weeks, it will inhibit your iron. It will not allow you to that like diminishes your level of iron or your ability to absorb iron, I should say. So
Okay.
you do 3 weeks on, 1 week off, and then you can do another 3 weeks on, 1 week off. I mean, you could go longer, but the rule of thumb, safety wise, 3 on, 1 off.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's great.
So,
And go ahead, Lolly, then Dan.
hey, Lolly.
Hi. Wow, that was so amazing. Yeah, and I guess similar experience to Sam, like you just mentioned, like the first ones, I was completely out, like,
Right.
but then the last one, I was like, oh, I'm more awake now. So
Yeah.
that was interesting. And I guess you answered one of my questions, which is really if I have to do all of them together or if I can do them separately.
You can totally do them separately. Yep.
And also similar to Teresa, body-wise, I've been actually the last couple of days, everything was kind of off, like my neck and my back, and I did yoga after I haven't gone in a long time. And all of a sudden now, I didn't even think about it, and everything is just
Feels better. Yeah.
feels good. Like,
Yeah.
it's awesome. So that would be, so if really it's mainly body stuff, that'll be the third one. Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
like you're going through and you're making your body manually like have those processes, and it will be even better when you have sleep. But you can kind of see when you even when you just touch those markers, your body goes into a little bit of that state. And so that restorative part where for one, you're relaxing the body, which means you're improving vagal tone. And any time you have like achiness or something, that's poor lymphatic movement, but it's usually because the vagal tone is off. You know, you're a little bit more in fight flight or activity. Sometimes it's not fight flight, but just like excessive activity, right? And in that state, your body doesn't really detoxify, you know, because it's allocating energy for activity or running or fighting. Then when you go into a parasympathetic state, your body starts to repair itself. So when you start to go more parasympathetic, the lymphatic system kicks in and moves to a much greater degree. And so the achiness starts to resolve itself because lymph is moving to a much higher degree and your body is detoxifying.
okay, makes
Yeah.
sense. Thank you. And then a couple more things. So one of them is if the issue is not falling asleep or staying asleep, let's say not even the body stuff, but it's more of like the mind is so awake and like there's no like it's fine, I can do this and I can do that, and all of a sudden it's 3 a.m. So then which one of those, if any of
I
these?
would do 2 and 3 for that.
Okay, to
It's
quiet the
probably
mind.
2, but it might be 3 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's going to quiet the mind a little bit, or just get the body to.
It'll quiet the mind a little bit, and it'll also clean up the mind a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we did a few rounds with each one of them. I can't even tell how many, maybe 3. I lost count at some point.
We were doing like when we did the beginning where we do the quadrants of the aura, we did that once, but the other
Right.
pieces we go back and forth twice. Like we'll
Oh,
do
D-
we'll do B
okay.
and then C and then B and then C again. And the
Okay.
idea is to go non-REM, REM, non-REM, REM, right?
So,
Like a way that you could kind of do it, like if you wanted like real fast, say you're wanting to work number 2 and you're going like, I just got like 5 minutes or something. Take the
yes.
oil for non-REM 2 and then the Artemisia and then and do
Okay.
the back and forth. And you don't even have to do the pattern. Like when I originally taught this, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I don't even know that we did it with a pattern right off the bat. I think we just smelled and then smelled and smelled. And then this pattern, where you go back head, forehead, back heart, front heart, it's toning and fortifying to the parasympathetic nervous system or rest and repair just by itself. And so you're using an oil and then you're using a pattern. Everything is kind of overlapping and fortifying the things you're trying to do.
Okay. And yeah, I do remember you did something with just the 2 oils back and forth. So
Yeah, that was a long time ago, but
and you mentioned that at some point, like a few months ago as well. And then, okay, now if I were to do what we just did, but I still want to like cut on the time, let's say I don't have enough time, then just do less
yeah,
instead of,
just
okay,
do less. Yeah, yeah.
okay. Now, just one more question. As far as the Artemisia, it's actually first time I'm using it and it arrived just on the break. So I'm very
Oh, good.
excited.
Good.
What? I actually don't know enough about it.
It's mugwort, but from
Yes.
Nepal,
Right.
And so it has all the properties of normal mugwort, like mugwort and Artemisia. Mugwort is from Morocco and Artemisia is mugwort, but from Nepal. So they smell very different, but they
Yeah.
have almost identical properties to them, except here. One is REM and one is non-REM. And so the Artemisia is the REM and the non-REM for number 2 is mugwort. And so like when we've taught this before, we didn't break down the different stages of non-REM. We just did number 2, which was really more about 50 or 60% of your sleep is in that second stage. And so we just did those 2. But here we're doing them all together. But Artemisia and mugwort could be used interchangeably, except here. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then you can take it, can you take it internally? No.
Mugwort and
No.
Artemisia is better to
No.
or apply to the body. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They have a
Oh,
decent amount of thulione in it, and like stuff with thulione you don't want to really take internally. So
okay. Oh, and then just one last thing. So what was interesting was Melissa, which is like one of my, like basically if you would put me in one oil, it's probably going to be that. Even the tincture, which I love, I still need to alternate between them. But what I noticed, it's the first time that I'm actually doing inhalations with the Melissa. That was like, that's pretty amazing.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
which I've never actually done that before. So
Yeah.
basically so it works in a similar way. Like if I need all of a sudden middle of the day, things are chaotic.
Yeah.
Just doing inhalations with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't even notice that it was, yeah. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Greg.
How'd you do?
I don't know, dropped the ball countless times. Probably more drops on the floor than on my
Right.
But that very end piece,
Mhm.
it gave me a bit of a headache actually.
Is it really?
Yeah, and I'm just was doing some sweeping, and as I'm just touching my neck now, it's coming from my neck. So probably from the procedure the other day, probably a little fallout from
Well,
that.
it could be, but your Mingmin is a little overactivated. Maybe
Yeah, I
just
was
get up
feeling
and
it.
rotate the hips a little bit and see if that makes it go away.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'll do that then. Yeah.
And then let me know either way. Let me know what's up.
Okay, let me try that. Okay, thanks.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, so we'll take a little break and we're gonna come back and talk. It's gonna be all about circadian rhythms.
What time are we back?
We'll come back at 25 after.
Um. hand raised.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Letty.
Hey, Miss Letty. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Greg. I just kind of
Mhm.
wanted just say really quick because I know you had mentioned about REM and non-REM when we did it long time ago. We were doing Mugwort and Artemisia, but we were doing the back head pattern on both of them.
Right,
So we would do Mugwort back head pattern, and we would do Artemisia back head pattern.
right. So that was doing REM, non-REM, but the non-REM that we were doing with the mugwort was the second stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just wanted to bring that up because I was going back looking at it. I was like, no, I think we did do a pattern.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, but even before we did the pattern, it might not have even been in a book, but like we like we used to just kind of do that, and then I was like, let's get fancy and do it with a pattern. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
But I think I remember we would do it without,
Uh-huh.
and then I think then eventually we did do the pattern, but we
Right,
would
right.
do, like
Yeah,
you kind of said, just
yeah,
non-REM, REM.
yeah, yeah.
But that's a pretty good class that one
That was
long
like
time
what,
ago.
like 5 years ago, maybe, yeah.
I think when I had this one, we were like, I think it was right at COVID time,
Right,
maybe before COVID, probably. So
right.
yeah, you know what we're looking at, yes, probably it is probably 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, time flies.
I know, huh? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
but I think this was a really good class, that health and longevity one. But
Yeah.
I know it would be hard to do because it's a really long booklet.
Yeah, well, that and you know what she's referring to is a class we did like 5, 6 years ago, and it was memory, sleep, and lymphatic function. But here we're doing a little bit of a deeper dive of a particular part of sleep. That's why I was kicking around, you know, we could actually do a thing where maybe we did 4 or 5 different sleep classes, but we'll see the level of interest and stuff. And if people are interested, I'll do it. But you know, we could go deep on a lot of different areas. You know, even going into the things here, there's still like a deeper dive that you could do on some of this, but you know, this should resolve a lot of people's sleep related issues unless there starts to be really extreme things, you know. But even the extreme things can be things like anxiety. So sometimes you just partner up a couple of things and you're able to resolve. But I think I had a bunch of notes on it was about 30 sleep disorders. But you know, I don't know how much people would be interested in that, but you know, because usually if you have a sleep disorder, you don't have 30, you have one, and you know, so I might just make that information available rather than doing a whole like class or something on it.
Thank you, Greg. That was it. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so we're on page 9 in circadian rhythms, and so this is like the thing that regulates your internal clock, like your sleep wake mechanisms in your body, and it's very much stimulated by external stimuli. You know, if there's excessive amount of light in the area or outside, you're less likely to go to sleep. Or if it's dark, it starts to get easier to go to sleep, right? Like I always find it interesting, like whenever there's a good eclipse, the animals or the insects start making their sounds like they do at nighttime, like the crickets and things like that, just for that period of the eclipse. And then when the light gets brighter again, you know, they stop. And so it's always a little bit interesting. But anyway, so we're going to work this circadian rhythms. Now, by going through and doing this, what you're also doing is you're working the pineal gland and the mental permanent seed, which is where we process information from the higher soul. In Astara, we refer to this as the inner nod or the inner sound. So that inner sound is tied to the creative process. Anytime you look at cycles in the body or rhythms in the body, you're looking at the creative process. So this is one of the ways that you would regulate or harness those creative aspects. Here you're harnessing them for deeper levels of healing. But even if you were doing materialization practices, circadian rhythms could be utilized for that as well. So with that, there's the blend rhythms, there's ginger lily and lotus. Now, if you don't have those, there's like, these are like B minus or even C choices. Probably more like a C choice, but helichrysum could work, mugwort could work, and pepo could work. Benzoin would kind of work. Let's see where we're at there. I think we're good if unless. So here we're going to calm and soothe the body, and then we're going to do a second step, just that's associated with the stimulation specifically of the rhythms, or I shouldn't say stimulation, or like regulation or enhancement of the rhythms. So first we're going to do the body component. So you have your oil, and first just begin inhaling it, like check it out. And then pause. And you're going to begin inhaling. Your awareness is on your feet. Long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on your feet. Now your lower legs, from your ankle up to the knee area, front, sides, and back. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Now your knees and your thighs, your upper legs. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then let's just take a pause for a moment. Just pause. Let it incubate for a moment before we continue. Give your lungs and your nostrils a little bit of a break. How's that feel? Yeah. I know. Now your pelvis, the front, the sides, the back, like the hips, the sides of your hips, and your whole frontal area where the sex organs are. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then your low back and your low abdomen. So from the top of your pelvis, front, sides, and back, all the way up to your navel, all the way around, front, the sides, and the back. So it's your low back and lower abdomen. The whole abdominal cavity. Your awareness is on the whole abdominal cavity. So below your ribs, all the way down to the navel area. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The mid back. Your awareness is on the mid back. And then just let yourself rest for a moment. Just let it all go. Let's begin inhaling again, tops of the shoulders. So from all the way from over here across the whole top over to the side. Full tops of your shoulders. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. And then your arms, your forearms, your hands, your fingers. So from here all the way down to your fingertips. In your neck, the front, the sides, the back of the neck. And then your jaws, your awareness is on your jaws. And your awareness is still on your jaws, but now it's the whole head. Your awareness is on the whole head. Then just pause and be still. Now, we're gonna come back to that, but let's drop down and do B, which we're gonna practice body awareness. So check in with your body. Where do you feel something? Where's the biggest like heaviness or agitation or denseness? Where's your attention drawn to? If you sit and just kind of explore your body, what's the thing that stands out? Whatever that is, your awareness is there. And then begin inhaling. Same oil, same blend. And then let that go. Go to your back head. So opposite that area between your eyebrows on the back side. Your awareness is on your back head. Now the back head is associated with the different rhythms in your body. So you're on the back head, you're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Pause and be still. Just be still. Hey, Pam. Okay, let's do body awareness again. Check in with your body. Where do you feel it? Wherever that is, you're beginning to inhale. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then let that go for a moment. Your awareness is on your back head. Go ahead and begin inhaling to your awareness on your back head. And then just be still. Just be still. Okay, we're gonna go back through and do the whole body again. So begin inhaling. Your awareness is on the feet. Taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on your feet. Your lower legs from the knee to the ankle. The knees and the upper legs. The knees and the thighs. And then just pause and let go for a moment. Just pause and let go. Okay, your pelvis, front, sides, and back. And then the low back and low abdomen. Your awareness is on the low back, low abdomen. The whole abdominal cavity. So below your ribs, down to your navel. Your mid back area. Your awareness is on your mid back. Your chest and upper back. And just let go for a moment. Okay, begin healing again. Your awareness is on the tops of the shoulders. From your neck over to the outer part of the shoulder here. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your arms, your forearms, your hands, your fingers, from your shoulder all the way down to your fingertips. Your neck, your whole neck, the front, the sides, the back. And then the jaws and the whole head. Awareness is on your jaws and your whole head. Just pause and be still. That's it. Feel pretty chill. Like relaxed, body feels good. A body awareness. Where do you feel it in your body? Your awareness is there. Nice, long, slow, deep breath. Now move your awareness to the back head. And then just pause. And then your back head. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the back head. Your awareness is on the back head. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then just pause and be still. Notice how you feel your body, your emotions, your thoughts. You feel happier. So let's go ahead and share experiences, ask questions. You can unmute yourself. You can type in. How did you do? How do you feel?
Yeah, go ahead, start us off, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Let's get you.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hey, Ty.
Oh, did you call me then or Dan? Well, Dan's hand was up, but if you wanted to chat, either one.
Yeah,
It's me. I'm sharing his screen. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So this circadian rhythm blend. I wanted to find out what's in the blend.
Oh, the rhythms blend?
Yeah, the rhythm. It
Um,
smelled a little bit like ginger.
Can you give me my, yeah, give me just a second and I'll tell you.
Is there ginger in
I
it?
don't think there's ginger in there. It's pink lotus, helichrysum. Let me get my recipe book because I'm doing it from memory and I'm probably gonna,
Oh, okay.
yeah, hold on just a sec. If I, so it's helichrysum, impeypo, pink lotus, African bluegrass, and mugwort.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. So this oil is good for, okay, my experience of my sense of it was it's actually very balanced
Mhm.
and very and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't as strong as the others individually that we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And since you were talking about the circadian rhythm, so it's sort of, excuse me, balancing the rhythms of the body. Like,
Correct.
yeah. So that's what it felt like to me. And also the whole protocol of doing the whole body.
Mhm.
We were touching everything. Um, because like in Chinese medicine, we go by the circadian clock.
Uh-huh.
So each hour of the day in threes represent a particular organ.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I actually coming into this class was thinking, oh, this would focus on the times we're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's really not because I like this very much. I could feel that well, if someone has a problem with the insomnia, in Chinese medicine, it's usually, and they wake up, for instance, I'm always waking up at 3 in the morning,
Right.
a lot of that indicates for my practice is liver, because three
Right.
o'clock is
Right.
liver time, and liver time it's actually from 11 to 3 or 12 to 3, so it's gallbladder, liver, and those are the two organs that control dreaming,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and also um, releasing of the bile. So it's actually rest stage, where
Mm-hmm.
the body is resting and the
Mm-hmm.
blood is being made by the liver. I mean, in
Mm-hmm.
Chinese medicine. So
Mm-hmm.
it's actually I just find it so fascinating that there's so many I don't know anything about prana, and I'm learning through you. But there's so many. They just kind of coincide a
Oh
lot.
yeah, totally.
It's amazing.
It's a
And
little bit of a different perspective, but a lot of times we just get to the same place, like in a different path, kind of.
correct,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it's just fascinating to me that I keep, I'm going, aha. And
Yeah.
this is my favorite, I think. So if someone has, when do you use this rhythm
You
oil?
could use it all the time. Like I
Oh,
mean, because even the single oils would have somewhat of an impact, but with oils, probably the one that does it the most are the different kinds of lotus. And you can use that for meditation. You can use it to kind of stabilize the body, but I like to use it because it's not just the circadian rhythm, but it would be other rhythms as well.
yeah,
And it's like balancing them, and like the way that I like when I look at it, sometimes it almost looks like things are just out of sequence and then they sequence better. Like if that makes sense. You probably have a different term for it in Chinese medicine, but it just looks like everything starts to like have the proper rhythm or the proper like sequencing for it.
Yeah.
So anytime the body's out of balance, anytime there's a chronic health issue, anytime there is you know, when you want to go deeper, I use it even sometimes when I'm trying to do like meditation or materialization. I'll use it even for like deeper psychological healing for that as well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I like this because like I said, it feels like, it's sweet smelling and it's
Mhm.
very balancing. In fact, I almost have to actually like be really consciously breathing it in to actually get the sense of it and
Mhm,
feel
mhm,
it. So and in Chinese medicine, sweet corresponds to actually nourishing, no,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and then for people in my practice, when they have sleep problems and or excessive dreaming, like violent dreams,
Mhm, mhm,
um, it's usually as a result of sort of what we call a yin deficiency, or a, either a blood deficient, uh,
mhm,
blood deficient, or they're fluid deficient. So they need to replenish the fluids of the body, and
mhm,
that could be any kind. That's your sweat, your saliva, your
sure.
um, every kind of body fluids. That it depends, but actually, that's sleep. Sleep is very, very connected to the yin parts, and that's why it feels like this is very, very yin of this blend.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say
Very,
so.
very nourishing. I love it. I totally love it. I'm gonna get a bottle.
Good, good, good.
And also one last thing, again, I
Mhm.
don't know the areas of the prana, but when you were saying at the back of the head, were you actually referring to the pituitary for
Well,
pituitary
we
gland?
go from here and we just like if you follow all the way around to the backside, like
Uh-huh.
there's a minor chakra back there. And so we're just
Oh.
hitting that minor chakra. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because when you said that that is the area where your rhythm, where the rhythms of the body is, and now I'm going into the biomedical part, which is
Right,
that's
right,
where the
right.
pituitary gland is,
Yeah.
and it controls it's the endocrine system and
Mhm,
the hormones, and that's actually endocrinal system is the balancing.
yes, yes,
Pretty
yes.
much all the functions of the body.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you again. I'm very,
You're
very
so welcome.
grateful.
And then go ahead, David, then Sonia.
Hey, David.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good. So, I've had sleep issues most of my life.
Mhm,
And most of my life, I've been waking up. I would go to sleep fine, and then I'd wake up and I'd be up for hours.
mhm.
Lately, it's been a whole range of sleep issues where I can't fall asleep. I'm restless when I sleep. And then I wake up and I could be up for 2 hours. I could be up for 4 hours. So I'm really grateful you did this class, and I'm going to be
Good.
working with these. Now, I don't have Artemisia and Mugwort. Should I just order those because there's not?
Yeah, I mean they are like the strongest thing for that. And especially for like if you're working the different stages of that the NREM 1, 2, and 3. The Artemisia is going to stimulate the REM component. And it's nice to do like a back and forth. Like you could tell each time we did a back and forth every step of the way. And I find that makes that more potent. When I was doing this in the earlier days, I would just do like a single component at a time. It was okay, but there's something about the back and forth that produces a much more significant result. And the the mugwort and the artemisia are very inexpensive. Like you can inhale them. You can put a little bit on the body if you want, but for this you just go back and forth with them. And, they have other uses, and they're peppered through a lot of other things. But for this, it would be quite significant, in the earlier classes where I've taught like a different version of some of these sleep things, we just covered like different aspects. But we did kind of touch on REM, non-REM, and I just had them work the Artemisia and the mugwort together. And people would say with their, what was it, their Fitbit or
Yeah, it was.
yeah, that they were they were having longer phases of being in non-REM, so they were hitting deeper levels of sleep. And there was a couple of people where we were doing the back and forth with the Artemisia and the mugwort. And I was having conversations with them in the class going back and forth. And then they'd look down and they'd go, I just looked at my Fitbit, and this whole last 20 minutes, which we've been talking back and forth, it said their Fitbit said that they were totally asleep. Like
Oh, wow.
but their body had gone into that sleep mode to such a degree. And so it will enhance the sleep. We had several students who kind of did it and then reported back in like 2 or 3 months. And just doing that, they said their sleep significantly improved.
Okay.
We used to do a version of this like a long time ago with trying to get their athletes. Like when I was dealing with like it was like low level pro or like very high amateur athletes, endurance athletes, so they were usually like performing day after day after day, right? And so if they were racing or performing day after day after day, the big thing is their recovery. So we think of like athletes always spending a ton of time training and doing this, but really, especially for endurance athletes, at least these days, like the last 20, 25 years, there's been a bigger focus on rest and sleep. And so a lot of times they'll do their thing, they come, they eat a little bit of food, and then they try to go to bed and start resting almost immediately. And the goal was always, especially it depended on what degree the athletes were, but we would establish like markers of them, like being able to, if we could get their pulse down below a certain point, and it was their waking pulse. Like it wasn't necessarily their resting pulse, but some of these guys and women, like but some of them, like their waking pulse would be like 38 or 39. Like it was just insane.
Wow.
And if we could get, like usually for those guys, if we could get their pulse below like 41 or 42, they would have an amazing next day. But if it was like 45 or 46, their next day would be And it's just that little extra bit is you're really hitting those deep restorative levels or degrees of sleep. And so we took that same approach, we took that same idea, and we used it to treat psychological issues, especially PTSD. And the ones, we couldn't get everybody to go to that deep of sleep, but the ones that we could, I mean, it was literally like a miracle. Like they would go to bed, they'd still, they weren't having PTSD every day, but it was always waiting for the other shoe to drop, and they were always being a little careful, and they were always a little tender, you know what I mean? And we'd be able to get them to like drop their waking pulse quite a bit, and they'd come out of it the next day and like no more PTSD.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have this recent story. I was not involved with this. It was an old client that I hadn't seen for about 15 years, but I've told the story a couple of times in the classes, but he had gotten prostate cancer. And, you know, they were treating him for prostate cancer, and apparently he had had it for like 2 or 3 years, or at least diagnosed for 2 or 3 years. And with prostate cancer, a lot of times it's such a slow growing cancer that they'll do treatment, or sometimes if they're older, they might not even treat it, you know, because it grows so slow, and you know, quality of life and all those kinds of things. And so in that time frame, he had gotten into a really bad ski accident. Like the best they could figure out is somebody slammed into him, but he didn't see it coming, and like kind of shattered his pelvis, and you know, broke a bunch of bones, and you know, he had to have a bunch of surgeries and pin everything together, and like he literally almost died from that. In fact, they thought he was going to die. And so he had like about 6 weeks where he was just in this crazy deep restful period. And you know, he's a busy guy, and he you know, he let go of his work and any concerns about work and family, and you know, because they really were concerned about like him even like surviving this. And so he just completely let go and just really went into a deep rest mode. And you know, as time came by, they started doing rehab, and you know, getting him more mobile, and you know, taking the pins out and all this stuff. And you know, he did some physical therapy, and you know, he's a mentally tough guy, so like he wasn't going to give up. So he pushed and got his body doing better and everything, and ended up going back to work. And so at that point, it was time to go back to the cancer doctor and, you know, have the prostate checked. And when he went back, the cancer was gone.
Oh, wow.
He had done nothing for it other than gone into really deep, crazy levels of sleep, and, you know, and rest. And he just really rested intensely. And when he came out of it, his body had handled the cancer.
Wow.
And that is by far the most extreme case I've ever seen.
Wow.
You know, because like when they told me that, I was full of questions, and I was like, well, something else was happening. You were still taking medication. You were, you know, I went through the whole list, and they were like, nope, like they gave up everything, and he just rested.
Wow.
And I've had situations like nowhere near that extreme, but just, you know, like an injury or a bad back, or, you know, because I have those torn muscles where I broke my back. And so like I'll be fine, and then I won't, you know, all of a sudden out of the blue, I just won't be. And, you know, most times I can pull out of it, but sometimes it'll get bad enough to where it's like, ugh. And if I can calm it down and sleep really hard, next day, it's almost like it never happened.
Mhm.
And, you know, there's been a few times with something like that. And those are my kind of little experiences with it. But really deep, restful, restorative sleep, even if you don't hit it every night, but if you hit it like when the body really needs it, it can be a game changer. And so even like it was last weekend, we were doing the digestive class, and you know, I started talking about, you know, we talk about parasympathetic activity, which is the part of the nervous system, the involuntary part of the nervous system that has to do with rest and repair. And it's like when people are referring to like vagal tone, that's what they're talking about, is the vagus nerve, and how much tone there is, and how it goes into like a deeper level of rest and repair. And so, you know, we always are looking at vagal tone as far as certain body functions and things like this. You know, because like rest and repair, but also digestion is right in there with rest and repair.
Mhm.
Like if you have digestive issues, you're not going into rest and repair quite deep enough. You know, because when you're in that, digestion happens. When you're more in sympathetic nervous system activity, which is fight, flight, and just activity, your body doesn't digest as well because it's allocating resources within to do other body processes, you know, associated with the activity, running, fighting. And so there's this idea of not just having good vagal tone. Good vagal tone is important, but there is this thing that I just coin it as vagal tone potential. Like, you know, there's normal levels of vagal tone, but every once in a while you need to have that deep level of restoration, that deep level of repair. And sometimes you might have good vagal tone, but it can go into that deeper state of repair mode. Like that guy that woke up without the cancer, he
Yeah.
had great vagal tone potential. Like when he went deep, he went really deep to the point where his body repaired things that he wasn't even thinking about. Like, you know, it was a concern, but he was more concerned about his pelvis. And so when you're dealing with injuries, and this can even be psychological things, it doesn't always have to be physical things, but the more that you have that deeper level of vagal tone potential, the greater potential for your body to go into a healing or restorative process that can really change things. You know, we don't always need that really deep level, but you know, you hear stories about people, you know, working with different substances and things for treating cancers or some things. And I think a lot of it is that they're just able to go into a deeper level of parasympathetic activity, you know, regardless of what they're using, is as long as it works and pushes their body into that deeper level of rest and repair. The body is really good at cleaning things up.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So go back and forth between those two.
Yeah, just
And-
even if you just kind of like do this right before bed.
Yeah,
I try to follow the you know, the pattern. But you
yes,
know, sometimes you're like, I'm tired and I don't want to do a lot of stuff, but I don't know that I'm going to sleep good. Like, you know, sometimes you're just in that place.
right.
Just lay in bed and like inhale 3 or 4 times, do the other one 3 or 4 times, the other one 3 or 4 times, the other one 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
You could do
Okay.
some form of that. Yeah.
And then I plan on ordering your tincture when it gets available as well.
The sleep support. It'll be up tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
it will. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to put it up until I had it made and bottled and everything, and so we'll be posting it tomorrow. It's made and bottled and ready to go. So
Okay, great. So, and then so for all 3 issues, meaning falling asleep, restless sleep, and waking up in the middle of the night, you would do the same process of back and forth between the artemisia and the mugwort, or would you?
well, falling asleep, you could use what is it, the Melissa St. John's wort or kava.
Okay.
Yeah, like those are pretty good. You know, I was thinking about it afterwards. An honorable mention here could also be tarragon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, tarragon could be in there. So you'd go back and forth with one of those and then artemisia. And then for stage 2, you'd do the artemisia and mugwort, which, you know, we spend probably half our sleeping time is in that stage 2. And so that one's a very important one. But if you're not falling asleep, you're not even going to get to that.
Right.
And so like I do those. And then the third is the deeper restorative part, and that's where like the blue healer or like the, you know, the oils that are real dark blue,
Yeah, I have
they're
yarrow.
calming and soothing to the emotional body. They calm the body down. They really allow you to go much deeper. And so yeah, you could do a version of that. Yeah,
Yeah, I have yarrow. If I wake up in
yeah, exactly, perfect.
if I wake up in the middle of the night, what do I do to?
If you wake up in the middle of the night, I would go back and forth with the mugwort and artemisia.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay, that's great. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for this.
You're
class,
so welcome.
and I can't wait to start applying this.
Yeah. You have to let me know how it goes.
I will. I will let you know. And then my question was about the salt baths. If the salt baths without the two oils that you mentioned, etheric cords or rue, would they still be clearing cords? Just salt baths?
No, you'd need to have like something a little bit more specific.
Okay.
Rue's probably not the best salt bath. I would probably do like the etheric cords or ironbark eucalyptus. You know, if you're dealing with a little bit of inflammation, an honorable mention instead of the ironbark eucalyptus would be the eucalyptus citriodora,
Okay.
which smells very similar to ironbark eucalyptus.
I have a eucalyptus. I don't remember which one. I don't think it's those two.
Yeah, that's probably, I think you mentioned the other day it was globulus, and the globulus doesn't quite clean the cords like the other ones.
Okay.
Those ironbark and citrodora, they're really good for that. More the ironbark, but citrodora will do it. But they're very lemony. Like when you smell them, they don't smell like eucalyptus. They smell
Oh, wow.
like an off lemon or something.
And would lemon do it? Lemon
No,
itself?
lemon doesn't really do it. Yeah, I tried it with lemon verbena, you know, because I thought, well, if it's the lemon oriented eucalyptuses, maybe it's the chemicals that make the lemon scent. So I went through all the lemony things, lemongrass, lemon verbena, you know, even Melissa. Like I did anything that had any sort of lemony.
Yeah. I'll
Didn't work.
I'll
Yeah,
talk to you about the
didn't
salt
work.
baths another time. I don't want to hog up the question time. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I'm really looking forward to giving this a good try.
Good.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Sonia, then Lolly.
Hey, Sonia.
Let's get you unmuted. I know sometimes you have a little bit of troubles with it. Keep trying. But go ahead, Lolly.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
So that was interesting. I dropped the bottle so many times that I can't even count pretty much every second, and I lost track of completely what we were doing.
Mhm.
And then after everything, I was just like, it was nice and it was needed, but just like earlier I felt like, okay, this is so good, and I'm like, I just woke up from an amazing sleep. Now I feel like I just want to go to sleep because I'm kind of exhausted.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, does that mean that my rhythms need somewhat additional work, or what is it?
No, like when they start to sequence like that, but sometimes what happens when you go through and you do a process like this is like it's calming to some agitation in the body, and it's calming to like the adrenals. And you know, like with the adrenals, for example, sometimes it's not like that they're always overactivated, but they're hyper reactive. Like it becomes much easier for the adrenals just to like kick in with less and less stimuli. And so when you kind of go through and you do some of these processes, like what you're talking about with the rhythms and doing the circadian rhythms, is it does have a regulating effect on the endocrine system, and it will calm things down that are too overexcited or too overactive, and things that are underactivated, it will bump them up. And so sometimes when you go through and do this, like when we're feeling a little fatigued or maybe not getting the best rest, is you start running on some low grade adrenaline, and then you go through and you do this and you're like, whoa, I'm tired. It's like the adrenaline pump just got turned off. And so then you're like, I feel more tired than I was before. And you were feeling that tired, but you had a little bit of that adrenaline kicking through you. And so like when you shut it down, it allows you to rest so that you restore yourself, so you don't need that adrenaline quite anymore. So sometimes what will happen, I remember the very first time I did this, I was feeling, there's that saying about like a horse ridden hard and put away wet. Like I was feeling like that, and I had felt that way for a long time. Like I was just always pushing it a little too hard,
Mhm.
And when I first did this, like I was, this was probably 10 years ago. I was tired for probably 2 weeks. Like it just felt like almost like jet lag, where I was just like, ugh, get up in the morning, I want to go back to bed for another 10 hours. And I started realizing I was running on adrenaline, and at the time I was living on caffeine. And so I was like, if I take the caffeine away, I don't have the energy to get through a day. And so I just let my body rest for that couple weeks. And then when I came back, I was like, no more caffeine. I still have something with caffeine from time to time. Like I have a real small cup of coffee a couple times a week, but not every day. But uh when I came back out of that after being tired for that couple weeks, I kept just like I was sleeping a little extra and everything. I felt so much better. Like it was just kind of shedding, uh like I'd been in that state probably for a couple of years. And like I just shed it for a while. And I don't use the caffeine like I was. Like the caffeine thing that happened, it wasn't all at once. It was just a little bit and then a little bit more and then a little bit more. And then I started noticing like whatever, like I was always drinking tea or coffee or something that had caffeine in it. And I was like, everything I put in my mouth to drink has caffeine. And I just stopped it. And between doing like stopping that and doing this work, man, I felt so much better afterwards.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes sense that my body really
Yeah.
does need more rest. I mean, I know that it's just that's like,
And-
I guess, a reminder.
And think about it like too. Yeah, I can't remember when you said you had your car accident but one of the things that can make the adrenals hyperreactive is like an accident.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was 20 years ago, but
Oh,
I
okay.
think, but for the last 3 years, I haven't been sleeping as much. But actually, I've been going to bed very, very late. Yeah, it's been mostly like about 3 years or so since
Mhm.
my mom passed. Yeah, and I get stuff done, and sometimes I don't even feel tired at night, but I'm like, yeah, I
Right.
need to go to sleep, so let's do that.
Right.
But really, sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night, it's
Yeah.
not
That
great.
was my caffeine days right there. Like 4 hours of sleep, that's all I needed. I could get up and, I was working crazy hours and yeah.
So it's, yeah, and I do stuff the whole day, but it's so basically with this thing that I just did, is it good for me to repeat that process again, or is this
Oh,
I'm gonna just
totally. Like
jumpstart?
especially if you're having sleep problems,
Yeah.
I'd say like once you've gone through it and you start getting good sleep, you could just do the pieces that need the extra work. But if you're really having significant sleep issues, I'd kind of fire through the whole thing.
What do you mean the whole thing? What are we? Oh, so
Like the chord, like do the chords and then
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like here we spent the day kind of going through it. You could really probably fire through this in like if you needed to at night in probably an hour and 15 minutes of just like quick doing it. And then as soon as you start to feel tired, like if you're on NREM2 and you're like, well, I'm getting sleepy, then just go to bed.
Yeah.
Wherever you're at, then go to bed.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's also like prioritizing things differently, because I fall
Sure.
asleep really fast.
Right.
Because by the time, yeah. Okay, so thank you. I wasn't sure. So then you would just go through that, what, even daily, or
Yeah, well, I would do it daily until you start sleeping good.
okay.
Yeah, and then when you like, if I start to have a little bit of insomnia, I'll tune this up again, and then boom, I'm sleeping deep. And, other things that we do play into this, like last weekend we were working with homeostasis and the vagal tone and things like that. All of that contributes, and so as long as you're getting good deep rest, like that's
And
however you get there. Like if it's
and and when I do sleep, I sleep well. And really, there are some days that I'm really, really tired. I fall asleep by
Yeah.
my desk, and I'm like, but I can get more stuff done.
right,
So that's a matter of making, different decisions as well.
right.
Okay, thank you. And then what I'm
Mhm.
wondering about with the process that we were doing, going back and forth with the REM, non-REM,
Mhm.
and all of that. So basically, a lot of the clients that I'm working with tends to have so many different things. Most of them also have some kind of sleep issue. They don't sleep because of stress, because of all the things they're dealing with. So I'm wondering, doing something like that, even during a session, like doing that before the session, after, what's
If you're just trying to like deal with somebody and they're having like where they're not getting the greatest sleep, work NREM too. Like
Yeah.
that is if you had to pull something out of this, like what can I get? Because usually if somebody's having sleep issues, they're not hitting NREM too.
Yeah.
Which just throws out 3 as well. Like if you're not
Mhm.
hitting 2, you're not hitting 3.
Yeah.
But like if you work 3, if you're not hitting 2, and so like if you really were to go through and look at people who are having sleep issues and evaluating, unless they're having a hard time falling asleep, it's almost always an REM too.
Okay, which makes sense because
Yeah.
some of them wake up in the middle of the night, some of them
Right.
have some like
Right.
Fitbits and
Yeah,
going
yeah.
back and forth with the so
Right.
and if you were to do that, then doing that before even starting the session or during doing
You could do either way. You could have them do it right off the bat, or you could have them do it while you're doing the session. Because the thing about that too is it also is clearing out a lot of stress from the
Mhm.
body, and it's cleaning out it's not completely like processing trauma, but especially after you've processed a bunch of the stress, traumas just start kind of pouring out. And the great thing is they won't relive them. It's not like they go, oh, that thing when I was 12, oh, that thing when I was 30. They just start feeling better and better.
Mhm.
But like if you look at the energy, first a bunch of stress comes out, and then it's a little stress and trauma, and then it's almost all trauma.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously it's going to make it easier for them to recover from whatever they have going on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're someone.
And then go ahead, Sonia. It looks like you got yourself unmuted.
Hey, Sonia.
Yeah, uh, yeah, like, I had the quantitative EEG the other day, and the connection between the two hemispheres,
Mhm.
two, what do they call them? The two, temporal areas has increased, but it's still overactive, like in the red, and I have temporal seizures. Is there something about this stuff that can calm it down?
Temporal seizures. And they're a true seizure, or are they a pseudo seizure? Do we know?
Well,
Anybody put the electrodes on you?
oh yeah, I've had an EEG, and they were um, partial onset seizures,
Okay. Um,
and so they want me to take a seizure medicine, but I can't because I have a sleep disorder.
right. Give me just a second here.
For the sleep disorder, I fight to stay awake all the time. And originally they said I wasn't getting enough deep sleep, but you know, I was real hyperactive and they put on electrodes and they were going to teach me how to calm down. And then he worked with me for half an hour and he said, I can't teach you to calm down. Your brainwaves are so low, you shouldn't be able to talk to me or even open your eyes. So there's one of the theories for sleep disorder is that your brainwaves are running too low, so your body you respond in the opposite by over adrenaline and overactivating to stay awake. He says, I cannot finger any other way of how you're managing to stay awake because it should not be possible with the with the way your brainwaves are working.
So in one of your kits, you have cystis. We can look up and find where you have it, but I would use cystis and I'd put your awareness on your brain. Do it daily. 25, 30 inhalations, like if you want to do it multiple times a day, but a lot of inhaling on the brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brainwaves and vital centers class. Actually, I bet Letty can get this fast. I could get this to you too.
I have sisters.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
As long as you know where it's at. Perfect. And then go ahead, Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Greg, question on the Rhythms oil. Is there any or ever a reason that we would take that internally?
No, it's better inhaled and you could put a little bit on the body through the skin, but best bet is inhalation or
On the wrist?
yeah, like on the wrist, on the temples. You can put a little bit on the temples. For a little while, I was playing with it on the joints of the arms and legs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I noticed a difference there. Like you might just get away with the temples or something. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I'm really interested in deep sleep and rest. So from what you said, like, so if I do NREM2, stage 2,
Mhm.
and I take the mugwort and the artemisia before I go to bed, before I go to sleep, and switch back and forth between the mugwort and the artemisia, will that encourage NREM2?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And the great thing too is like maximum bang for your time is do it right before bed, but you could do it in the afternoon and it will still enhance when you go to bed. Like, so it doesn't necessarily always have to be done like right at bedtime. If you're like, you have an hour at lunch or something, and you go, I'm gonna knock a little bit of this out, it still will contribute to bedtime.
Okay. Well, I was thinking more of, like in the evening when I'm tired and I'm just sort of
Right,
cruising the net because like my brain is full.
right,
Rather
right,
than playing with that crap, just pull
right.
this out and do this.
Yeah, yeah,
Like a lot.
yeah, yeah.
you know. Yeah, and I could do this like daily, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Can't OD on this.
No,
Okay, good.
no.
Good.
Trust me, I've tried.
All right. And then I have a couple other questions, but that's for another topic, and don't want to tank the course. All right.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, I will catch up with you Tuesday night with some other questions,
Okay.
but good, thank you.
All right, now we have some shares and questions. Wow, looking forward to tonight's sleep. Thank you so much. I want to say a big merci to you for this session. It is amazing. It is 1 a.m. The work started to kick in and I'm gently falling asleep.
Oh, good for you. Is
I-
that Pierre?
Uh,
Yeah.
I wish you a beautiful end of the day and rest of the weekend.
Yeah. Get a good night's sleep there. Thanks for staying up so late.
I got really drowsy on all the processes today. I couldn't even finish the last one. I could I could hear Greg like far, far away. Great class. I look forward to working these more.
Yeah.
Is it helpful to apply rhythms to the wrists?
Yeah. Wrists or temples. Yeah.
Great class, very useful. Thank you. Can you take a blue oil internally to remove excess iron in the blood?
No, it won't necessarily do that. Like unless you're taking Yarrow for long periods of time. I've never used it for that. I can't remember the name of that condition, but there is a condition that it's excessive amounts of iron. I guess if you took it long term, you could, but I've never used it that way. In theory, it would work. Maybe email me and we can maybe guide you through that process and like just keep tabs on you for that as you go through it. And I'm willing to give that a shot if you are. Yeah. I'd just like to monitor it maybe a little bit.
Can you take rhythms any time of the day?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I am ready to call it a night. Several years back, there was a kit with 2 types of eucalyptus, the red gum and the McCarthy.
Mhm.
And I think they were considered alternative options to mugwort and artemisia. Am I remembering that
Yeah,
correctly?
I did try that for a bit, and they do some, but I still like the mugwort artemisia the best. Yeah,
If yes, which replaced which?
yeah, I'd have to go back and look. Yeah.
Well, great day, guys. Great questions. Thank you for all your shares.
Yeah. So, okay, you guys. So Wednesday night we will be doing a study group for this, so you can come back with questions and experiences and things like that, and we'll cover a little bit more, maybe even on Wednesday night. So keep it in mind that we'll be doing the study group and we'll do a follow-up. So thanks for hanging out today, and we'll see you again soon. Some of you I'll see you tomorrow for the generational healing review. But